we all know, November is Fall Prevention Month, and tonight we're going to discuss the 411 on what it's like to be in your 80s. Before we begin the conversation, allow me to introduce our special guest, Margaret. Margaret was born on the beautiful island of Trinidad, where she attended St. Joseph's Convent. After high school, she attended the Catholic Teachers College and taught at elementary schools there. Margaret came to Canada and attended York University, where she obtained a bachelor's degree in business administration while holding down a full-time position with the government of Ontario. She retired from the government at the age of 56. Margaret continued to teach English at night school with the Toronto Board of Education until the age of 65. Margaret is now 83 years old and also a caregiver for her twin sister. And for those of you who are now joining the show for the first time, my name is Desiree King, and I am a senior home safety advisor here in Ontario. I wanted to first share my story with you before we go into the topic of tonight's show. So the first question that I'm often asked when I deliver seminars to groups such as this is, what do you know about aging? Or you're so young, or why do you care? And my response is this simple: it's my passion. Now, I'm probably going to date myself here, so promise not to ask me my age or try to figure out my age. But when I was 14, I volunteered to work as a candy striper in the hospitals. Now, for those of you who remember who a candy striper was, they wore those red and white aprons in the hospitals. And in my case, I delivered books on the geriatric floor. I then went on to work as a dietary aide in the geriatric ward of hospitals throughout Scarborough, and this was throughout my high school years. And since then, I have worked in or owned several senior-related businesses. Most recently, I was a realtor for the past 6 years who specialized in working with the 55-plus demographic. I've taken a plethora of courses in aging in place, downsizing, retirement living options, and dementia care. I've also worked as a client care coordinator for one of the leading home healthcare companies in North America. Now, I must admit that during my time spent as a realtor, I've always felt a pull towards the educating and serving side of the business more so than the real estate side. So at the beginning of 2020, I knew that something in my life was about to change. I knew that my calling was greater than my career. Little did I know or anyone know that we'd be hit with a pandemic called coronavirus. And over the past 7 months, coronavirus has killed roughly 9,822 Canadians. 81% of these deaths are linked to long-term care homes. Now, health officials have cited the need for rigorous visitor and resident care protocols and precautions in these facilities. But the solution is also in our hands. We as a people, as the future elderly population of this country, have to make some decisions as well. I firmly believe that we as Canadians need to change our thinking and method of caring for the elderly. And one possible solution is that we honor the wishes of our elderly members of society, allow them to stay at home for as long as possible by doing what places like Scotland has done and pour money into home modifications and home health care as opposed to hospital funding. Over the past 2 months, as I sat at home listening to the news and watching the number of deaths occur with our seniors, I realized that I wanted to do more than I was already doing. I realized that being a realtor did not align with my desire to have a greater impact on the lives of seniors. The ancient Greek physician Hippocrates once said, "Drastic times call for drastic measures." And my drastic measure, it took the form of me officially resigning from real estate and focusing my attention on something I was already doing, but making it my one thing, which is senior home safety. While many seniors want to stay at home safely, the fact is, and as you'll see from the stats I'm about to show you, their homes are not equipped to do so. So in preparation for what I see will be a shift in the mindset of seniors, their adult children, and society on the whole, my main objective is to assist families in figuring out what is wrong in the homes of themselves or their loved ones and what needs to be addressed in order to allow our seniors to be safe in their own homes. Now, you're probably wondering, why is there a whole month dedicated towards fall prevention? Well, I'm going to give you 4 reasons tonight. The first reason is falls are common. Falls are the leading cause of fatal and non-fatal injuries for older adults. As a matter of fact, 1 in 4 older adults falls each year. And every 11 seconds, an older adult is treated in the emergency room for a fall. Every 19 minutes, an older adult dies from a fall. The second reason is falls can cause serious injuries. Falls result in injuries such as hip fractures, broken bones, and head injuries. In fact, more than 2.8 million older adults are treated in emergency departments annually because of a fall, resulting in over 800,000 hospitalizations. The third reason is falls are costly. The average hospital cost for a fall-related injury is over $30,000, and we shouldn't take it for granted that we have healthcare here in Canada because places like in the US or other countries, they don't. Falls, with or without injury, carry a heavy burden on quality of life. And after a fall, many older adults develop a fear of falling, and as a result, they limit their activities and social engagement. Fear of falling can result in further physical decline, depression, social isolation, and feelings of helplessness. The last reason, number 4, is that falls impact caregivers too. Research has shown that after a care recipient's first fall, caregivers report a significant increase in caregiver burden, fear of falling, and depression. Research has also shown that the toll on a family caregiver's health appears to increase over time. If you can prevent a fall, whether it is for you as the caregiver or the person you are caring for, you can save time, stress, and money. Coping with change in life is difficult, no matter how old you are. The particular changes for older adults is the sheer number of changes and transitions that start to occur, including children moving away, the loss of parents, friends, and other loved ones, changes to or the end of your career, declining health, and even loss of independence. It's natural to feel those losses. But if that sense of loss is balanced with positive ingredients, you have a formula for staying healthy as you age. Now, Margaret, my first question to you is tell me your story. We mentioned briefly what your career was prior to retirement. Can you just share a little bit more with us what that was like for you?
Okay, well, I came to Canada because my sister lived here, and I wanted to reconnect with her, and because we grew up together at home, the whole family. My grandmother lived with us. My mother and my father, 2 sisters, helped take care of us, and it is the only sister that I have. Unfortunately, she is my twin sister. So I was really, really concerned and longed to come to Canada to be with her again. Prior to her coming to Canada, she lived in the U.S. So she came to Canada from the U.S. And when she came to Canada, I decided, well, I would come here too. So that's how I got here.
So you came over to join your sister. That is a beautiful, beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so at what age before I jump to what age did you retire? Because you did mention that. Tell us about your career that you worked as a teacher. Would you say that was something you were doing? Was it your passion, or is it something you just kind of fell into and did?
Well, it was not my passion at the beginning, because when we graduated from high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just didn't think about after high school. And one of the nuns who taught me, she said to me, you know, you would make a good teacher. Have you thought about being a teacher? And I said, no, I hadn't thought about that at all. Said, well, how would you like to enter the Catholic Teachers College, get some training, and go into teaching? And I immediately decided that's what I would do. Went to college, came out, taught at elementary schools, and then later on, as I said, wanted to join my sister. And I came here, and I have no regrets.
Okay, and that's one of my favorite sayings, live life without regrets. And
That's right.
so at what age did you retire again, and what led to you retiring at that age?
I retired just before my 56th birthday, and it was at the time the government had been offering early retirement, where your age plus your service came to 80, and then you were able to retire with full pension.
Oh, wow.
So,
okay, so that was definitely an incentive for you then to retire.
I had no debts. I was teaching at night with the Toronto Board of Education. And I figured with the pension that I would get, I would be able to live. And then at 65, I was able to get my old age pension.
Okay.
I think I got the CPP before that, but I never got the old age until 65.
Okay.
And I continued, teaching until I was 65.
And did you have any other plans as far as retirement? When you knew you were going to take this package and retire, did you have any plans on, maybe bucket list things you wanted to do or places you wanted to travel?
I did travel too, but the thing I wanted most to do was to give back to my community. Because over the years, I had no time to do anything in the community. And I felt it was my duty to give back.
Amen. Amen. And that leads into the next question. I know you spend a lot of your time volunteering. Can you please share with us some of your causes and how you've given back?
Okay. One of the things that I realized that I wanted to do was to help seniors in the area, in the Peel region, and mainly seniors from the Caribbean who had no idea of what was available to them as they grew older. So a friend of mine and I decided we would form an organization, a senior organization, where we will get seniors from the Caribbean to join and learn about the different things that were available to them, the different, where they can get help from the 3 levels of government. They knew nothing about, because many of the older seniors who came in the early days, they worked as domestics. So they just did their work, and when they got old enough, they just stopped working. And I think most of them were able to get old age. A lot of them didn't get CPP, so it was hard for them to live on the old age pension. Now, they didn't know about the different things that they can apply for, where to apply. They had none of this knowledge. So this friend of mine and I got together. We formed a group. We registered the group with the provincial government. And within 2 years, we became, with the federal government, a non-profit organization where we were able to apply for funding and to put on seminars where these seniors can learn what was happening in their community, what was available to them, etc.
Wow, that is amazing. And that's also part of your legacy. And legacy is so important. And in what ways did you taking this step to do this benefit you as you have aged?
Well, it has benefited many of us because many seniors were living alone. We would hold weekly meetings where they can come out and share a meal with other members of the group and play games, go on trips together. It was a different life for many of the older folks who had retired before us. So they were able to come to the meetings. They were able to enjoy life a bit because once the grandchildren were grown up and they were no longer needed in the homes of their children, they more or less had to be on their own and fight for themselves.
Yes.
A lot of Caribbean women, this happened to. So this was one way to help them and to, make them happy again, because they would meet, they made friends. Friends will go in groups. They'll go to a movie, or they'll go on a trip overseas, or whatever. But they were working with other people. They weren't just sort of by themselves in a basement apartment somewhere, or even in the home of the relatives where they had no time for them. And there was a lot of problems, because the children would take their pension check when it came, and they would do whatever they wanted to do with it. These poor old people had no say in the matter, no say in their lives. But by coming out and joining the group, they were able to find out how they can get housing, different things were available there. They had no idea. Some of them were able eventually to move into Ontario housing, where they can be on their own and do their, But it was really, really tough for seniors. And this was one I wanted to do. I wanted to help seniors. I also wanted to help the young people. Yes. So I volunteered for 10 years since my retirement with Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Oh, wow.
So I would go into the schools maybe once or twice a week, and kids who were difficult in the classes would be assigned to me, and I will meet with them on a one-on-one basis. So we'll have conversations. These were children whose parents had no time because they were working 2 and 3 jobs. They had no time to sit down and listen to the kids, spend time with them, play games with them, nothing of the sort. So they were very disruptive when they got into the classroom. I had one student, he was from China, didn't have the language. The other kids would tease him, and of course he would fight back. So he was fighting, and then he would get punished. I remember him because he was an outstanding student. He was learning English at the same time he was going to elementary school. Wow. And I would meet with him. He liked science. He knew how to play chess. He was teaching me how to play chess, which I enjoyed. I didn't have the opportunity as a young person to learn it. And he learned a lot from me. His mother came at the end of the term when I was finished with him, and she thanked me so much. She said, my son is a different child. And she thanked me for spending the time with him, letting him, know that he's going to face these little things with his friends. They're going to tease him. They're going to probably try to beat him up, the usual things with kids. But just ignore it. Do what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to study. You're supposed to do your homework. He was learning the computer, and he was a changed child. And his mother came personally to the school, the only person who ever came to thank me personally for helping her son. She was so happy the way he had changed over the time I had him.
Wow. Margaret, you have touched so many lives between your work in forming the seniors organization and in your work with Big Brothers and Sisters. And there's another quote I like, is that your legacy is defined by how many lives you've touched. You have touched a lot of lives thus far, and you're continuing to do so even by participating in this show. So I need to keep on thanking you, because what a blessing, and the stories are simply giving me goosebumps. Amazing stories. As we all know, go ahead.
No, I'm saying I am glad that God gave me the opportunity. He kept me healthy, that I could have done all the things that I did.
Amen to that. As we all know, fitness is key. How do you stay active?
Well, after retirement, I joined the gym, and I used to go to the gym 2-3 times a week. And then later, I joined one of the senior groups here in Peel, and played golf. As a senior, I learned to play golf. So I would golf sometimes twice a week, depending. And that was a lot of walking, so I was getting all the exercise walking. And then I would go to the gym, so I was getting exercise at the gym. And I was fit. I was feeling, even in my 60s, 70s, I was feeling, before 70s, no. When I turned 70, I was diagnosed with colon cancer. And within a month, I had the surgery. And after that, I was fine again and continued to do what I was doing.
Okay.
The thing that happened was I was discovered in October of 2007, and my sister, my twin sister, was discovered in November. So after I had my surgery, she was discovered and she had to be hospitalized. She had the surgery, and right after the surgery, she had a stroke.
Oh, my.
So that is a few weeks after I had my surgery. When she came out of the hospital, I would go and stay with her for a while and then go to my house, and then she would come to my house with me. So we shared the two homes, staying sometime at her home, then staying sometime at my home. And then finally her kids said to me one day, why don't the two of you sell one house and live together instead of you living here and she's living there and you have all the bills to pay and she has all the bills to pay. And I said to myself, that makes sense. So my house being smaller, I decided I would sell mine and move in with her. And we still had room for if we had family visiting, they could stay with us, So it made sense to me to sell my house and move in with her. And I have been with her since 2008.
Wow. And we're going to move into a discussion as well as how it is to be her caregiver. But before we go there, can you share with us what are some of your other hobbies? I know you enjoy painting and you've started back doing that. Can you share with us, tell us some more about your painting and other hobbies that you have?
Yeah, well, I picked up photography along the way, plus painting. I did I do a lot of reading. I go to church, of course. I like going to my church. I am at a retirement home now, and there's lots of activity. I still take part in the painting, the art classes, and so. And I never use watercolors. I learned to use watercolors because I've been using acrylic since I retired. My art teacher passed away a few years ago. But I learned a lot from her. And I was able to follow here the classes here, and I've been doing pretty good. Because of COVID now, the classes have been postponed, or we're waiting to get, this virus cleared up before we can go back to classes and have full classes again.
Right. And that segues into...
I read, I go on the computer, I learn things on the computer on my own. I try things for myself. I cook, I bake, I do everything.
And you still drive as well, don't you?
Pardon?
You still drive as well?
Oh, yes, I'm still driving. Yes, oh, yes. My driver's license was renewed last year. Yes, oh, yes.
Amazing. Now, you've lived through a lot. This pandemic, COVID-19, is new to everyone. How has it affected your retirement life, and how is this compared to other worldwide events, I guess, for lack of a better term, that you've lived through?
Well, because of the COVID-19 now, I used to go out and take my walks. I would play music and dance just to keep fit. But with COVID-19, my retirement life changed. It impacted my life very much because I'm in the retirement home, and we have to obey the laws here when they send the instructions. We have to obey. Our families and friends were able at one point to visit with us, and we were able to visit their homes and go out with them to lunch or dinner or whatever. But with the COVID-19, none of the family can come into the building. We used to be able to go out for walks and so, but now that the cases are going up here in the region of Peel, we are not allowed outside except in very special cases. We have to stay within the grounds of the retirement home. No family can still come in. They allow people on palliative care to allow one person to come in, and that person has to be tested every 14 days.
Yes.
So in order to help that person, because the fact that they're in palliative care, it means that they cannot do anything for themselves. They need family help. So one person from the family is allowed to come and help that person. Thank God that is not us, because my sister would have had that if I was not around to take care of her and to help her.
Yeah.
Because she cannot do anything for herself. She recently had... Yes, she recently had a hip replacement surgery, and the doctors keep telling me the anesthetic has affected her brain. She's very forgetful. She cannot recall things like she used to. She used to be able to do her own insulin, set the amount she's supposed to take. She was able to take her own medication for herself. She knows which pills were for the morning, which were for lunchtime. She's not able to do any of that anymore. I have to put the pills out. I have to take her sugar reading before every meal and at bedtime. I have to give her all her meals. Thank God she's still able to feed herself, but just barely, because she has arthritis in her two shoulders, so she's unable to raise her hand very much. I have to put her in a wheelchair and wheel her to the table because dining chairs are too low and she's not to sit that low. So she sits in the wheelchair. They have pumped a cushion in the wheelchair so it raises her body a bit so she can sit at the table and have a meal.
Right. And since we're talking about your sister now, what were you saying? Finish your statement, then I'll ask my next question.
No, that was it. I said it's not easy. It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah. I can imagine.
It is.
Since we're on the topic of Fall Prevention Month and your caregiving, I know your sister has fallen.
Many times.
Was it like? What impact did that have on you as her caregiver, and how did you see changes in her? Not the physical and the mental changes. Can you just share that with us?
Okay. The thing is that she would be passing out and falling down at the house when we lived at the house. For many years, this was going on. Each time she fell and passed out, she appeared to be fainting to me. I would call the ambulance. They would come. Sometimes by the time they arrive, she is back to herself. She's aware of what's going on. Many times they have taken her to the hospital. They have run all sorts of tests on several occasions, and they cannot find why this is happening to her. Recently, she was in the rehab center, and the doctor with a nurse went in one morning to check on her to do something, and she was completely out of it. They then called an ambulance and rushed her to the Mississauga hospital. Again, they ran all these tests, couldn't find anything, and took her back to the rehab center. She came back home last Friday, and on Saturday morning, she had an episode. She passed out for a little while. It wasn't very long because I was nearby and I sort of respond her. First of all, I got some juice. I gave her some orange juice because I'm told that if the sugar is low, it could be,
Raise the level.
give them some.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was to give her some juice. And I noticed she started to respond right after I gave her the juice. So I made her drink all of the juice. And then I called downstairs for help because I wasn't sure what it was, what I should do, And the two nurses came up. And by that time, she had got herself, so she was aware of what's going on. So they told me to just watch her, and if it happens again, to call her, because if it's anything, they're going to have to send her to the hospital. So I explained to them this hospital business that nobody can find out what the problem is. And it's just something that happens when you least expect. Yeah. So now she does not want to go to the hospital at all. She doesn't even want to hear hospital because it's inconvenient for her in that she spends hours in the hospital. They run all these tests and everything comes up negative. So why is she fainting or passing out from time to time? We have no idea. So this is unresolved. As I said, since she's back home here, it happened only once and very briefly, and it hasn't happened again, but I have to keep watching her. Wow. So it makes me now very nervous to go out and leave her alone. When the time comes and be able to go out again, I am scared to leave her alone.
Yeah.
So each time I have to go out, I would have to get somebody, a friend. Well, we have lots of friends and members of the senior group. Some of them are still driving. And I will get somebody to come and stay with her. That wouldn't be a problem. Somebody will stay with her and give me the opportunity to go out and do shopping and so again, That's the way it is.
Have you yourself ever slipped and fallen?
I fell when I was very young on the ice going to work one morning. But I was able to get up, brush myself off, get on the bus, and go to work. And that was the only time I remember falling here. One and only time. Okay. I never fell again. I was very careful after that. Very careful. So I haven't fallen again at all. But I am aware of the falls, and I watch I am very careful. If I go outside, you will find me looking on the ground where I'm putting my feet. I just don't just walk casually like a young person anymore. My eyes are on the ground.
Right. What do you think has led you to reach such a good, old, ripe, healthy age?
I think it's the way we were brought up. We were always taught to think of others, to help others where we can, to always have friends and have our friends come to the home, have my mother meet our friends, get her approval as usual, because mothers always like to know who you're hanging out with.
Yes.
And growing up, our family was a close one, so that everybody knew what everybody was doing. We all had dinner at night together, and this is where we all express our experiences of the day. Because we will say what happened to us in school, my mother will say what happened at work, so we'd have a conversation. And then we would pray together. We would say the rosary together every night after dinner.
And that is so important. Family time is so, so, so important. It's something that I think these days we get so caught up that everyone's doing dinner in their bedrooms and stuff. And, sitting around the table, putting down the cell phones and having that conversation is key.
We didn't have cell phones in those days. Some of us barely had a landline. A few people of us had a line. Many people had no phones in those days. So you had the radio, so you play the radio. We didn't even have television in those days.
So you have all the distractions that we have now.
Too many distractions now. The children, they would come and they would have their cell phone. They're not even listening to what you are saying because they're so busy on their cell phone talking or texting with their friends or whatever. Even adults now, I see on the TV the adults going out to dinner or whatever. No conversation. Each person pulls out his cell phone, and there they are looking at the cell phone. No conversation. And I'm saying, oh my God, thank God I didn't grow up in those days. It was better to wait.
I agree with you. It's cell phones were meant to make our life more convenient, but I think we work longer for those of us that do work and have phone emails coming in. And it's brought us closer, but it's also separated us, if that makes any sense, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And especially when you have young kids and teenagers, you have to be so careful who they're speaking to, who they're communicating with on these cell phones. You don't know, people encouraging them to do wrong things. You have to really, parents have to really pay attention. You know?
No, I agree.
More stress on the parents again.
Yes, I agree. Shifting into a different direction now with the conversation, what are your thoughts on beauty and your aging body? How have you adjusted to that?
Well, my philosophy is, if you live long enough, you will get old. Your body is going to change, your appetite will change, lots of things will change. So you have to be prepared, prepare yourself for it. When I turned 70, I didn't know how much longer I would live, especially when I was diagnosed with the cancer. I didn't know. I prayed and prayed and prayed, and now this is how many years, 12 or 13 years since that happened. I haven't been sick since then. I go for checkups every 2 or 3 years, and so far, knock wood, things have been good. And I am in a position now, thank God, where I can help my sister.
Yes. What were some of your happiest times of your life? Like your most, the age, if you had to go back, that you'd go back to, and why?
It would be in my 20s. That was when I enjoyed, then I had the best days of my life. So from high school, we hung with girls that we went to school with. We made other friends along the way, and we would get together from time to time for somebody's birthday. My mother always celebrated our birthday, my sister and I, and we would have all our friends over. And our 16th and 21st birthdays were something else. We met people out here who told us they were at the party that we didn't even know. We didn't even know them at the time, but they were at the party.
Wow.
Party.
That must have been some party.
I know, because we are the only 2 girls and we are twins. We had to celebrate together. My mother was, she was one who liked to celebrate birthdays, and she had beautiful parties for us. We were able to invite whomever we wanted to. And we enjoyed life. It was a time too when it was safe to go to other people's parties back home. And, we would move around with a group of friends. I remember several nights we getting ready for bed, and we might get a phone call. What are you girls doing? Nothing. I'm thinking of having a party over at me. We're going to get some friends together. Bring whatever you can bring from the house. We'll get out of bed, mainly me, get out of bed, get dressed, and up the road to a party. It was all within the neighborhood, so it wasn't far out, And then somebody would come meet us. If it was a little distance, and then they'll make sure and bring us back home at the end of the party. But it was all clean, good fun. All of us liked to dance. We all learned to dance around the same time. So it was a pleasure for us to try out, put our steps, because we learned to dance in private. And then when we go to these parties, we're stepping, showing off,
It's funny how that hasn't changed. That's funny. We still do that nowadays.
You didn't even have to plan it sometimes. You just say, I feel like having people. I feel like having a party. And you call everybody new. and everybody will look in the cupboard, see whatever they had, what they can bring, and you go music, dancing, everybody drinking whatever you had to drink, you know.
Yeah.
Would always, we would have something at home. And everybody just brought what they could, whatever they had at home. And it was beautiful. You felt so happy to be chatting with your friends and dancing. And, those days I wish they could come back again, but I know they won't.
I can hear the joy in your voice. I feel like I'm actually there. You're taking me back there with you. The joy in your voice it's obvious. It's there.
Beautiful days. Beautiful,
now, just
beautiful.
Switching the tempo for a quick second. Do you have any regrets? My favorite saying, one of my favorite sayings is live life without regrets. Do you have any?
I have no regrets. I planned my life. I did what I had to do because having no children, I had to plan my life. That's one of the reasons why I went back to school to be in a better position to get more highly paying jobs so that when I retire, my income will be enough for me to live on, because I did not want to depend on anybody. I wanted to live life independently, and thank God so far I have done it. I have traveled. I have enjoyed my life, and now it is ready for me. Here I am. No regret. No regret.
Okay. And how do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be?
I want to know, I would like mine to be remembered this way, that I lived life to the fullest. I loved others and others loved me. And that's it.
That's something I lived life to the fullest.
I loved others and others loved me.
Loved you. Amen to that as well. I agree with you on that. Margaret, what motivates you?
Being able to get up in the morning without any assistance. I can get out of bed. I can go take my shower. I can do things for myself. Once I say my prayers, now in my old age, I get the mass on the TV every morning at 8 o'clock. I try to get up every morning. Well, now I have no choice but to get up every morning before 8 because I have to give Yumilta her insulin at 8 o'clock. And I do that and I follow the mass. When I was alone and she was at the hospital, I would sleep in and sometimes I'd take the mass at 12. And I get up when I felt like getting up. If I didn't feel like cooking, I didn't cook. I just made do with whatever. Now I have to have real meals for her because she's taking medication. So I have to have the meals for her when she does the insulin, then at breakfast time, then at lunchtime, then at dinner time, and something before she goes to bed. I have to give her a little snack before she goes to bed at night.
Yeah, and it's that's a lot of work because it all you finish breakfast, it wraps around to lunch, and then it wraps around to dinner, right? So definitely.
And at all these meals, she has to have medication. So I have to be there to give her the medication. I have to give her the meal, but you know, I am able to do it.
Yeah.
And I thank God every day that I am able to do it because without me, I don't know how she would manage. God knows why he brought us into this world together. We don't know how we're going to leave. But for right now, we are here and I am here for her. I have no choice but to be here for her.
Amen. Amen. Margaret, is there anything in your bucket list that you'd like to do or accomplish?
I would have liked to travel more. Because I had a timeshare, and I had some cousins who also had one, and we used to go together to different places at different times. Sometimes we'll use theirs, sometimes we'll use mine, And I really thought this would have been going on and on and on for a while. But then when I got sick and Humilta got sick, the traveling ended. I sold my timeshare. And then we haven't been able to go on trips with them anymore. But we have taken in quite a few trips. We've gone to many of the islands in the Caribbean. We went as far as Hawaii and enjoyed our life in Hawaii. Yes, yes. So but I would have liked to do a little more of that.
If you had to go, if you had to go, if you were able to, and say we lived in a COVID-free world, health wasn't a challenge, where would you go? Pick one place.
Where would I wanted to go to Africa. That's one of the places I wanted to go to that I've never gone. It has always been my dream.
Yeah.
To go to Africa. No particular country, just to step foot in Africa.
Yeah. I've been to Egypt, and it is surreal. It definitely is surreal. And I would love to visit other places in Africa, but Egypt alone, it was surreal because of the rich history in Africa.
That's it. Yes.
I can definitely relate to you saying Africa for sure. What is your favorite? What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is, "If you don't succeed today, try again tomorrow." That's all I have done. I just kept going one after the other. It didn't happen today. I kept going. It's going to happen tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's going to happen the next day. And I believed that it would happen. And it has always happened. I achieved whatever I set out to achieve. I have not failed. This is what I'm most proud of. It may take me a long time to do it. It may take me, years and years. But in the end, I got what I planned for. I am happy with my retirement. I worked hard. I tried to promote myself. I put myself in a position that when something came up, a higher position came up, I was able to apply and to progress through my working years. Yes. I feel I have done my duty helping my seniors and young people by volunteering and helping out as much as I can. So I feel that if I should be taken today or tomorrow, I feel comfortable in my heart that I have done what I set out to do. I have tried to be the best person I can be, and that is all I can. I give what I can. I have given everything that I can. I don't think there's anything else left for me in this life to do. I have set out things and I have accomplished everything. It took time, but I made it. Thank God.
You're making me tear up. This is so passionate because resilience is something we try to impart on our children. And these words are so meaningful because a lot of times they don't have that resilience, because I think so often we as parents try to protect them from so much that we don't let them build that resilience. And, if your kid can't peel a banana, I've seen parents come peel a banana for them. It's a banana. Like, let them learn to peel a banana. Something simple as that. But resilience is so key. And to hear you say that is just driving home an important message of resilience. There's a saying that says, if you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, do not give up.
Make the effort. Try. Nobody expects you to do more than your best. Your best is all you have. That's all you have. And
as I tell my daughter, always better your best.
Yes.
Always better your best. And it's that simple. Don't worry about the perfection. Just every time you come, run past yourself and better your best. Your own competition. Right.
Make a step forward. One step forward. One step forward. You'll get there. Surely.
Amazing. I have some questions from the viewers. One question from Rochelle. Yeah, we have questions and people are watching, people are listening. So one question from Rochelle, she asked you, over the years, have you ever been through anything like this current pandemic over your lifetime?
Never. Oh, well, as a child, we had chicken pox. No, we had was it one TB when we got the needle at schools? We were at school,
Yeah.
and they had to give us a needle for chicken pox. Not chicken pox. Yeah, what was it? What did I tell you?
Measles? Is it measles or smallpox?
Yes, for measles, and then there was polio. We had a shot for polio when we were young at school. Some kids got polio back home, and they had to give us this needle. And then they had to check us for tuberculosis. There was a time when there was tuberculosis going around, and at school again we got needles at school. I remember that, but nothing like this pandemic. No. Within a few days, we were all right. If we got measles, my mother and grandmother would take care of us, and in 2 2s, we were out of it. I got pox as an adult here because of my nephew. I used to take him to nursery school, and he picked it up at nursery school and passed it on to me. And I, at the time, was working. Where was I working at the time? I think I was at the government at the time, and they had to quarantine me at the house. And that was in Canada. But I was quarantined for a period of time, and then the pox went away, and I was okay again. All the marks went away.
But nothing like this worldwide, global.
Never experienced anything like this. Never. We would never lock down anywhere. We always had freedom. Always had freedom. Never before. Never.
I have another person, Antoinette. She's asking how can one go about getting healthcare support? Now, I will say that we will have a show on that topic in the next 2 weeks, I believe. But just tell me when you're not yourself, but when your sister started needing that extra support, I guess because you had this organization, you knew the resources.
Yes,
so
and
what was the process you went through?
The people came in. We had people come in and speak to the group, and in those days it was CCAC. I forget what the initial those letters stand for, but they were able to provide help. So what I did was I called them, and I remember somebody coming to the house. I think she was from the St. Elizabeth or something. I think she was an occupational therapist. And she assessed the situation at the house, and she told me what I had to get. And then she put me on to another group who would give the home care so that I could get help for them to come in and help me to shower Humilton. And they would come and shower her and take care of her, and then they would come back in the evening and get her ready for bed. But I would take care of her during the day, which wasn't too bad in those days. I mean, she used to be able to sort of help herself a little bit too, you know.
And for those who are not familiar with healthcare, CCAC has now collaborated, and it's now called LIN, which is the Local Health Integrated Network.
What I was going to say now, it's no longer CCAC, it's now LIN.
Yes. I have a comment from Avril Riley, who's also a pastor. She says, "Bless your heart. You're such a beautiful soul."
Thanks so much. Thanks a lot. I try. God knows I try.
And Antoinette Duncan says, you're a very independent person, loving you and your sister.
Thank you so much.
So lots of positive feedback going out to you. I'm just going to
appreciate it very much.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly share my screen again, and I have one other question for you. Just give me 1 second while I share my screen here. Okay, so I want to thank you, Margaret, for taking the time to share your story with us. Before we end our conversation and I give my final words, what gems, what advice can you give our listeners on embracing aging? So often we fear aging, but we can't stop it, so there's no need in fearing it. What advice would you give us on embracing it?
Prepare yourself for it. You're going to live, you don't know how long you're going to live. But if God is good to you and you live to a ripe old age, you just live from day to day. You get up in the morning, you thank God you're able to move.
Amen.
Your skin becomes wrinkled and lots of moles all over and whatnot. You embrace them and you say, God, I earned every one of these. I live my life and I earn it. I am 80, whatever years old. I have lived life to the fullest. I have enjoyed life. And if this is what you want to give me at this age, I accept it. That's all we can do.
Thank you.
Prepare your mind, as I say, because if you live long enough, you're going to get old. Now, it's important if you grow old and you're healthy, because that is a plus. And to remain healthy, you have to exercise, you have to eat right, and you have to have a good heart, I would say. Do what you're supposed to do. At the end of each day, you examine yourself, examine your conscience, and see if you have done what is expected of you. Just live each day and enjoy and thank God that you're able to get to this age. And if you're healthy, as I say, it's a plus. If you're not healthy, you still have to thank God, and you have to try and just try and try. God will never give you more than you can bear.
Amen. Amen. And you said, one thing that you said was to do what is expected of you. Are you referring to society's standards, or
No,
what are you using as your standards?
Whatever you have in your mind that you want to do, whatever your plans are, how you want to live, what you want to do. Nobody is going according to anybody else's plan. You make your own plan in life and you try to follow that plan.
Right.
Down to the bitter end.
Exactly. There was a comedian, Martin Lawrence. I'm not sure if you know who he is.
I know who Martin Lawrence is.
Martin Lawrence is. He has a saying that he's going to run his body until the wheels drop off. So he's going to keep going and going and going until the wheels drop off. That's one of his things. I'm not sure if I'm quoting it right, but it's something about running and the wheels dropping off. So yes. I've spoken to a lot of I've spoken to a lot of centurions in my time working with seniors. And one lady I asked was about 103, and she was still mobile and active and doing things. I said, how did you get to this age? And the one piece of advice she gave me was, Desiree, don't stop moving. Do not stop moving. And you've shown us that by talking about all the things that you've done.
Yes, you have to keep moving. We have a member, our group she's probably about 104 or so now. She called me the other day to see how I was doing.
That's so sweet.
Her brain is as sharp as ever still. Yeah. She fell down a few years ago. She fell down and had to have hip surgery too. She was in rehab for a little while, but she's back home now. Her daughter had to give up her place and move in with her because they didn't want her living alone anymore. They wouldn't want her to fall again, so her daughter has moved in with her. But my dear friend is as collective as ever. When she called me the other day, I was so surprised. I said, I should be calling her. I am so busy, I have no time. And she realizes, I guess, that I didn't have the time. So she picked up the phone and called. Oh, I couldn't thank
Margaret, her. Yes. Thank you so much. And just stay on the line as I wrap up. I cannot begin to stress how much helping yourself, a spouse, or an aging parent to avoid falls goes a long, long way towards preserving health and independence. Regular exercise, as we know, helps to strengthen muscles and maintain or improve fitness, balance, stamina, and suppleness at any age, as well as reducing joint pain. As such, regular exercise will help reduce your risk of having a fall. As with all exercise, make sure you warm up and cool down, and that you have carried out a number of simple safety checks before you start. Over the course of the next 3 days, you will watch 5 short videos, one on fall prevention exercises, an introduction video, and also an exercise level test. Another one on strength and balance level 1, strength and balance level 2, and strength and balance level 3. These videos will help you determine which level of exercises are best suited to you, or if you should seek guidance from your physiotherapist. So inviting everyone out there, join us tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. for the 411 on fall prevention exercises, the intro and the exercise level test. I want to thank everyone tonight for joining us for this very intimate conversation. And remember that all discussions can also be found on YouTube, on the Senior Living 411 Incorporated channel, or on the Senior Living 411 podcast.